friends. This is a Kenwood KR-1000. And by the way, you're watching Andy's audio crap, which we cover a lot of crap, but this one's not really crap. I guess it could be crap. It depends on what your version of crap is. So today's crap is this Kenwood massive receiver. So we're going to actually take some measurements here real quick. Almost 21 and a half by about 18 deep. Heavy receiver. Let's get into it. All right, this was also known as the Galaxy Commander, and that is because of this faceplate here. It's really hard to see with all the lighting I have in here, but there's all kinds of gizmos and gadgets that lit up, and you might be able to see a little bit of that. And it's really actually pretty cool, but it's a dedicated faceplate, so there's not a whole lot of dynamics going on. It's just basically lighting. A fancy way to do lighting. And this was 82 when this came out, so right on the cusp of CDs coming out. I believe 82 is when CDs came out, so all you have on here is a phono and cassette. Now, one thing that is missing on here is Dolby, and I believe Dolby came out in, I believe, the 70s. Correct me if I'm wrong, please, in the comments, but it only has this low and high filter, so you're not going to take any Dolby out of it at this level, not at the amp level, so it doesn't have the Dolby circuitry in it. But your cassette player by this time should have Dolby built into it, so that's probably their thinking in not having it on here. The retail on this thing, when it was brand new, was somewhere around $900, which is several $1,000s now. Anyways, 120 watts per channel. On the back side, there is a toggle, so you can toggle between lower than 8 ohms and higher than 8 ohms. So this was compatible with a lot of the speakers that were starting to come out that were 4 ohm. 6 ohm and 4 ohm speakers were becoming quite popular around the late 70s, early 80s. And then as you, of course, move that toggle, you can get it all the way up to, depending on your ohms on your speakers, somewhere around 460 watts. Now, I had this open, and it shows that, well, okay, so it shows here ABC channels, but when I had it open, and when you'll get to see those parts of the video, it only looks to me that there's actually 4 genuine channels, but maybe I'm reading what's going on the board wrong. Could be. Total harmonic distortion is 0.01, which is very respectable. Has this EQ over here, equalizer. And really this equalizer is switches. So every time you hit this, you're actually moving a switch up. You're graduating a switch either up or down. The volume here is a motor that's actually moving the actual volume. So you can hear it. Maybe you can hear it, not sure. I can hear it. It's kind of a humming little motor. The mute actually doesn't mute all the way. I don't know if I just have a setting wrong on this one, but it only mutes at about 20 decibels. So if you have it cranked, it's not going to turn it all the way off. Now, as far as the radio stations and all the digitalness that's happening over here, this was, again, early 80s. So all the station memory stuff over here is relatively new. And when we get into the inside, you'll see there's not a lot of ICs or integrated circuits going on in here. You're still looking at a lot of transistors. As far as the radio functionality, it's all over here. And your tape functionality is right here. And then your speaker and sound, beyond this piece of the sound, you have your low, high, and loudness over here. This section upper left is all your clock functions. All right, that is about it. I've had this dude a couple of months now. It sat over on my shelf and I just got it out over the weekend. It's been a couple of days over here just running while I've been working at my desk. It sounds absolutely beautiful. It has the 70s sound, the 80s look, and it is beastly. It's a statement piece. It's very heavy. It's very big. It wants to be the center of attention. This one is not in that rough a shape, but it does have lots of signs of use, like edge rubs, where people have put things on top of it. You can see scar marks, and then it actually has a dig through on the faux veneer right here, but outside of that, pretty darn good. Now let's take a look at the inside. There's not a lot of material out there. There is a service manual, but not a lot of video material out there on how to take one of these apart. So real quickly, this panel is covered by these side panels here. And on the bottom, there are these 3 tabs that are setting here. And then there are going to be 3 screws holding this side piece to this board. Well, actually, there's frame and board. It kind of goes between the 2 of them, if you see me kind of nudging it in there. So you have all of that that needs removed first. And then on the other side, there's actually only 2 screws to the top, very, very top extreme, and very, very bottom extreme. And then there's a ground wire on that bottom one. Make sure to get that ground wire back on there. All right. And then once these are off, it exposes the side panels, which are holding this in place. And there's I believe I pulled 2 screws, but there's 3 holes. So I don't know if mine just has a lack of screws, or maybe there were 3 in there and I just didn't count. I don't know. That's how you do it. Oh, and then this piece, this silver face piece, has, to get it off, you have to remove the 3 screws on the bottom that are plastic, or they're holding on plastic, and it's quite obvious which ones they are. There might be 2 or 3. There's 3 actually down on the bottom. And then there's these metal ones here. There's 2 metal ones here, and then two that are mounted to plastic here. And then that front just comes right off. That's disassembly. This is the belly of the beast here. Most of the weight comes from your big transformer over here. Very, very large, very heavy. I'm sure, I would not doubt it if this makes up half the weight of this thing, and it is very heavy. Your amplifier, your primary output is right here, and the transistors that are used in it, very common, from what I could tell, or somebody's replaced them with common. They sound very, very good. Then you have your radio over here. Below the radio are other controls. Over here you have your equalizer, and again below that are some controls. And then up here you have, I believe this one is for clock, just judging by the crystal setting here. Not sure what this board does, but below here is more. And then I can tell for sure over here is power. So you can see the power control, and the fuses are down in here. Really cool layout, pretty easy to access. Nothing in here, everything in here actually, yeah, nothing in here is hard to get to. Everything in here is meant to be disassembled, so you're not running into any like really super tight spots. This is still a time frame when they had a lot of space. They could spread out, they could make things a little bit easier to access. There's a lot of room for heat to dissipate throughout here. I will say from a bottom access point there, that panel does come off, so you can access the bottom. These boards have ample cable so that you can, cable management in here is great. There's a lot of extra cable. When I pulled off the front face, so this section, all this bound up wire right here, and there's some more bound up right here. It just let things roll right out. Quick disconnects for a lot of it. Very few like actual soldered to the board, connectors between the boards. Very, very, very good. I'm sad there's not more of these out there because, well, if you did need a part, it's going to be really hard to find. Like my volume control on this one, the little light that shows how high the volume is isn't working, and I would really like to just buy a whole new assembly, but nobody has parts out there for these. Unfortunate. But I will say that the electronics that are in here are fairly common. The transistors especially, not a problem finding any of these, I don't think. Even the ICs, I looked up a couple of those. In here you see the ICs. Fairly easy to find, whether from another unit or still available from like Mauser or DigiKey. That is a tour of the inside. DC offset is pretty easy to find in the unit. It's right here, of course. And there's your potentiometers, and your read points are very, very obvious. And I'm dialing mine in to 40. I don't know what spec is. It's probably 50, but I like to run a little bit cooler. These are up to temp. They're not too bad at all. All right, that's the end of this video. This is a really cool piece. If you have an opportunity to get one, see one, listen to one, do it. It's one of those things that you have to do if you like the 80s style of stuff. Pre-CD, this thing is so cool.